Lost in Translation. It's a movie that features the alienation of being in an unfamiliar place and environment. Lost in Translation was translated into 사랑도 통역이 되나요? In Korean, which means can love also be translated? But I think it was a little mistake to name like this, bringing the first impression that the topic is mainly about love between the main characters. However, as I kept watching the movie, the more I thought it's not just a man and woman falling in love. So I think the more fit title would be 통역의 길을 잃다. Bob, a veteran movie star, comes to Tokyo to model for a whiskey commercial after 25 years of marriage. He also models day by day, experiencing inconvenient language communication. The emotions that come from the unfamiliarity of Japanese culture in Tokyo are well depicted from the perspective of strangers. Charlotte, a fresh graduate of college, came to Tokyo with her husband who goes to work. Charlotte's married life does not seem very happy, perhaps out of anxiety about the uncertain future. The two, who stayed in the same hotel, often encounter each other at the hotel before finally sitting side by side at the hotel bar and drinking. The two identify each other who feel friendship or even platonic love for each other while becoming so close and enjoying fresh and fun times of deviation. The two go back to their respective lives. In the last hug scene, there is a scene where Bob whispers to Charlotte, and we can't hear what he said as if they were leaving it to our imagination. If we focus on what director Sophia tried to show, we get to see a great part of humans' loneliness by two people who suffer from extreme loneliness and emptiness in Tokyo, where there is no meaning in life even though they are married. According to Matsumoto's Culture, Context, and Behavior, humans need to meet biological and social needs in order to survive. But I think as we do have that ability of complex social cognition and language, we need conversation and interaction with people nearby us who can understand each other as not only for survival, but also our natural urge and desire. And environment is really important here. Same culture, living in the same era, similar experiences, education, things they have in common, or a similar humor code, etc. They are all parts of an environment. Tokyo in the movie is a city that looks friendly but cannot be melted by tourists or businessmen. Crowds pouring through the densely built buildings, loud arcades, clubs, and karaoke. The unfamiliar surroundings and the absence of a person who fully understands them made the two feel more like an outsider. Here I also want to mention the latest movie that we have watched in class, Spring, Summer, Autumn, Winter. A young Buddhist apprentice lives with his master in a small floating monastery drifting on a lake in the serene forested mountains of Korea. He spent his life there, didn't get to learn about outside the Hongsalmun, and one day he plays with the small animals and learns he must not torment them. A young Buddhist apprentice lives with his master in a small floating monastery drifting on a lake within the serene forests mountains of Korea. He spent his life there, didn't get to learn about outside the Hongsalmun. One day he plays with small animals and learns he must not torment them only after one of them has gotten killed. Then a few years later, the apprentice, now a teenager, encounters a mother and daughter dressed in modern clothes. A being outside the Hongsalmun, a female girl that he first saw. Without learning to know what feeling it exactly was, he becomes attached to her, resulting in him committing murder when she goes back to modern society and has a relationship with another man. Because it was his first time having a huge emotion and urge without any education, he didn't know what to do with it. But if he lived in modern society world, I think the results would have been different. Or if he was taught about the feelings he could have with her and how to control his feelings, or that people should never kill each other. Although this might be a little extreme example, the fact is that humans are lonely beings. But because we are able to think and learn complex things, if you want to live in a totally different place, you must reflect on the underlying reason for being there. The name apple trees for apple trees is what we humans named them after seeing that apples grow on the tree. The only fruit that grows on that tree is an apple. But unlike that, humans can grow different kinds of fruits. We think, learn, strive to make various and different ways in our life, where no one has walked before, or sometimes things that look impossible, all these to choose what we get to be. If you find the final target and meaning of your life, then I think you would be able to naturally adjust and make friends, as we are animals of adaptation, if you go straight based on your goals. Anyways, this is a movie that quietly talks about the nature of communication, which is the most important in a person's relationship. I wish there were beings who could communicate in many aspects of life. When we sometimes can't define a relationship with someone, I think that might resemble the relationship of the characters in this movie, Bob and Charlotte. Thank you.